never thought our empire would fall.
It won't. We will sleep here until the Reapers return to dark space. Then we will rise, 1,000,000 strong.
For the empire.
For the empire. Get to your stasis pod. Victory. Broadcast the stasis readiness signal to all life pods.
And the refugees who have yet to reach the bunker.
Their sacrifice will be honored in the coming empire. How many have we lost?
Reaper forces have destroyed approximately 300,000 life pods.
Third of our people.
Alert! North side bulkhead cannot be sealed. Hostiles detected.
Then all forces to the north.
No. The bunker is falling. There is no other option.
There are pods online! Those soldiers are still alive!
Their sacrifice will be honored in the coming empire. Preparing neutron bombardment. Get to your life pod now.
Clarify.
Sensors are damaged. Automated reactivation is not an option. You'll remain in stasis until a new culture discovers this bunker. This may lead to a power shortage.
Do not shut off more pods. I need the few that are left.
Power needs will be triaged appropriately. You will be the voice of our people.
I will be more than that.
Well, that's a thing. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Arbitration Studios as we continue our journey across the whole damn thing of the Mass Effect trilogy. I'm JPArbiter.
And I'm Captain Jack.
And we are at the climax of this game.
I do love the climax.
Or this series. You've postulated before that this is one game broken up into 3 parts over like almost a decade of production.
Yeah. No. And honestly, I think it is. I think playing it once it all came out, and it was all done, and really, the Legendary Edition really kind of does this best. Playing it, no break, straight through, you kind of get that feeling of it being a one game and one story, and even all of the advancements make sense within the world that's been created. All of the technological advancements and whatnot from the first game to the last game make sense within the framework of the universe that they've created. And we're about to begin what I think is the culmination of, and what I hope is the culmination in that they are working on what is supposedly a fourth or a fifth one,
Depending
in
on
this
perspective.
storyline, and I hope that it's enough of a break from this storyline. But because this is such a beautiful, like end, like final run through, and just brilliantly done, in my opinion.
Yep. Before I go on to that, we are now introduced to the first of our future squad mates for this game. One Lieutenant James Vega, and you can tell that he's been up for captain at least twice.
Definitely comes across as somebody who has punched a superior officer at least once.
And usually for good reason.
Oh no, always for good reason.
But punching a superior officer is punching a superior officer.
Yeah. Also, he comes across slightly, and I do mean this slightly, as somebody who was possibly enlisted first and was given his rank breveted. Yeah, he was given his rank basically in a needed situation. Hey, we need a lieutenant, and this guy is, and so not necessarily came up the same way most officers do.
Voiced, by the way, by Freddie Prinze Jr., who I didn't think had it in him to voice like this. I always kind of saw him as more of a light voiced guy, like a high baritone.
Yeah.
So
no, he has had a magnificent voiceover career. It much more so. So, Mark Hamill, you always can tell it's Mark Hamill. We were talking about voice actors. You can always tell it's Mark Hamill. Beautifully so. Never a problem. It's never a that's Mark Hamill again. It's never that. It's always yay, Mark Hamill. So that's never a problem.
I think that one Jay and Silent Bob movie had it right. Whenever Mark Hamill shows up, a bright neon pink sign that says, "Hey kids, it's Mark Hamill."
Absolutely. And I think with Freddie Perez Jr., he went the opposite way. A lot of times you can't tell that it's him. And that's perfectly fine. I think he does do good voice work. So here we are. We are honestly
the Reapers are basically at this point crossing the Jovian planets. And I do love going back to the kid that was playing with the spaceship toy. That is, it hits hard because that's how wars start. The politicians know, the generals know, the common person doesn't. And they don't know until shit starts blowing up.
Well, yeah. Here's our long-term friend, who, by the way, at the end of this game, and I don't know if I've mentioned it in this series that we're doing here in this playthrough, but I have always been slightly uncomfortable about the romantic relationship between the Shepherd and Ashley, or if you, for whatever weird reason, I have no idea why you would, because Carthonasi must die. But why, if you get Caden, because they're subordinates. And as a person who served in the military, the idea of a officer having a relationship with a subordinate, it just rubs me the wrong way.
Fair enough.
And so that is always rubbing me the wrong way. Not that I haven't done it just to, check off some boxes, but
a bit of a note, by the way, about our characterization of Shepard as it goes forward. I mean, first off, this is the Ballad of Agatha Christie.
That's right.
Whenever we have an opportunity to punch somebody, we are going to take it.
Absolutely.
There will be a moment where we break that character for a very good reason. But otherwise, we are still, every time we punch, we punch. And part of the thing that we're doing to do this is that we have changed our class for the third time, and we are going as a Vanguard, because the Vanguard class is entirely dedicated to punching. I sure hope they can't hear that coffee maker in the background.
I did not think about that.
Neither did I. So enjoy the sound of our coffee maker.
I mean,
the other thing about characterization, though, is that the war that we have been anticipating for 2.5 years of our life, and probably 1.25 years of our conscious life, is finally here. So you are going to see a Shepherd who says, all of our personal shit, if I don't like you, or if I do like you, that gets put to the side right now because this is game time and I need everybody on board. And I will make origami out of the rule book, out of the diplomacy handbook, out of anything to get you on board.
Absolutely.
Because that's how wars should be fought.
Now, I think, and as a huge fan of the alien invasion genre, I think they do this one very well. I think they depict it very well in this beginning scene. I think they actually um, kind of missed some notes later on. They were storytelling choices. Can't argue with them because they're storytelling choices. So, but I as a storyteller myself, I would have gone different directions. But in this case, I would like to say, while we're going into this, what was going on here with Shepard being held accountable for their actions, no matter how stupid holding them accountable is.
I mean,
it's so typical to military organizations.
I mean, strictly speaking, Commander Shepard is responsible for the deaths of almost 300,000 Batarians. I think I said it in Mass Effect 2. By the fact that we killed that many Batarians alone, we should be given a goddamn medal.
Absolute medal. But the way that they did that is actually very. It might seem very unrealistic to people, but it actually is very realistic.
Yep.
So in just like there being no, hey, you broke this regulation, but here's the extenuating circumstances. Nope, doesn't matter.
Save it for the court-martial.
Yep, absolutely.
Now
here we have, I think, every game like this has a prologue section or whatever you want to call it, where you kind of get to learn the new methodology, the new controls.
And that's very important because in every single game there has been subtle shifts in mechanics.
Absolutely.
Sometimes not so subtle, and because we are, again, this is war.
Yep.
Compared to the other two games. This is a no shit knockdown drag out war.
Yep.
So it's time to show what I think Shepard and his or I should say their N7 training is capable of.
I think that they did a really good job. I don't. So you can't really jump per se.
Yeah.
Like there are specific points where you jump because that's part of the, like, you're going to do a slide, you're going to do all sorts of stuff.
You're going to vault a fence.
Yeah, you're going to do all sorts of stuff. And I don't necessarily mind not being able to jump. Necessarily. And here we have, I've never actually managed to get through to there with any bullets left. I've always
you're scripted not to have bullets.
Which is great. Now, here we have. Again, at the beginning, there are so many great little set pieces, scene pieces that set kind of the overall tone, and also for a shoot 'em up fantasy game, which is what this is. There is a amazing amount of heart and a admission that these, within the framework of this universe, these are people, these are human beings, and they have human reactions to situations. With the writing,
case in point, here's this kid. Everyone hates this kid because of what the kid ends up representing later.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that when we talk about the ending, which is going to be its own, like, almost 2-hour podcast, I predict. But with this child, compassion is absolutely the right thing. It's, hey, let's go. You're not safe here. And the fact that the kid is so stubborn, it's sort of like, it's on you, boy. Sorry, Newt, you're on your own.
I know. No, I get the very first time I played it, I was like, Newt. And I was honestly hoping the first time I played it that kid would become the ship mascot. Like, I would save the kid and bring the kid with me. And
Like
the kid
Newt
would be
or
on our...
Foxy in Battlestar Galactica or something.
Yes, absolutely. Something like that. That is a storytelling thing that I would have used, because as a storyteller, I like the mascot. I like the fun, quirky.
It's why R2D2 and 3PO are so popular.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, if you like do a very, very heavy literary analysis, you can argue the fact that they're the main characters of the story, and I think George Lucas actually ascribes to that. But you know, even if you don't believe that, they are the mascots of Star Wars. So
absolutely, 100%. They even get their own show.
Oh dear.
And you know, unlike the other famous droid Chopper, they're not war criminals.
Chopper's kill count is amazing.
It's higher than any Sith Lord. Just that's what this game is really missing, is a homicidal droid. But anyways, I mean, we had one in the last game.
So anywho, we're going to continue along, and you know, basically like the Seattle Vancouver megapolis, I think those two cities formally merged in the Mass Effect universe.
I believe so.
But yeah, we're
randomly shooting at the...
Yeah, I'm pissed they're there.
Well, yeah.
2 fucking years. You bet your ass I'm gonna take a shot.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I think that a lot of thought has to go into how do you make an alien invasion of Earth work? How do you kind of get around the fact that humans are always waiting to commit genocide? I mean, and I'm not saying that as a you know, as a thin, like, I'm saying that completely based on historical human interactions. We're not a peaceful species by any means necessary.
No, we're biological terminators.
Exactly. And so you got to come up with ways to get around the fact that, you know, we are going to drown you in missiles. We are going to drown you in, you know, and we...
there's a kid's cartoon called Megas XLR, and it created this meme of a guy hitting buttons, and it says, fire the missiles, even more missiles, all of the missiles.
And so, but, and to get to this game, to get out of the philosophical nature of the game, but to get back to this, I think that they finally got the ammo stuff right in this game. They finally got the... so you put flame on your ammo, right? You put heat rounds, and you're essentially firing heat rounds, and it works. It's, you know, it packs a punch, it sets them on fire, it does extra damage. It's actually much better than in the first game, where I'm not entirely certain any of those things worked. Into the weapon.
And then the other thing that they did was that they also rebalanced the various types of health bars in order to have the different ammunition types interact with them in a way that felt visceral.
Yes. Yep.
Case in point, cryo ammunition was not very good in Mass Effect 2, as much as I love the effect that it provides.
Right.
And it's much more viable in 3.
Well, yeah, I think all of them are much more viable. The word you just used in 3. I think that, like I said, I think that 3 really and this is, you know, we'll talk about it when we play the game, but I think that the step to 4 is an even bigger, like, jump. That is,
we were dancing around the idea of alien invasions and how to set them up. And I like how the Reapers were handled, because much like in the movie Independence Day, the Reapers are a force of nature.
Yes.
They're not something that can be bargained with, reasoned with. They feel no pity, they feel no remorse, and they will not stop. Independence Day, the aliens that were in there were much the same thing until one wrapped its tentacles around Brent Spiner.
Which, you know, I mean, every time you wrap your tentacles around Brent Spiner, something weird happens.
Sometimes he reverts to his character from Night Court.
He
Hello.
does. He does. It's very weird. Um,
So, I mean, this whole but yeah, this whole setup where there's no announcement, even though the Reapers have always been kind of grandiose in their speeches, we've seen with Sovereign and with Harbinger, they don't like announce their pride. They're not the Goa'uld from Stargate. They just go.
Yeah, and on top of that, I like the storytelling arc where the Reapers can handle us because our technology is their technology. We don't have the difference, and I'm not saying that we would have like an advanced technology. I'm more saying that we would have
Normandy to the rescue.
different technology. You know, they know what they're fighting.
Yeah, they set it up and they created the cheat codes. So anyway, so we're approaching the end of our prologue here. Ashley and Vega are aboard, and we are going to be going out into the wider world. It's great. It's fantastic. The game is officially starting. This has been a fantastic beginning.
No, it is. It is an absolutely great like prologue. I think it is a great setup. It sets the emotional tone of the story.
It also affirms a lot of character arcs.
Yes.
Not just, you're in charge of Shepard and how you characterize them, but Anderson being a natural leader, being a trained leader, and realizing someone's got to get this rabble together because otherwise there's no point in returning to Earth.
Right.
So he is staying behind and just also just kind of says, oh, by the way, you're reinstated. Right? Isn't there some paperwork to do that? And we get an email that that paperwork was done and rushed through basically on the authority of Admiral Hackett. And, if there are any politicians left, middle fingers.
And unfortunately the only politician left is
Udina.
Worst one. But and again, this is another thing that is, the military can and does call people back to service, and they will do these things if they need you. It doesn't happen often. It has happened.
They're more likely to prevent you from retiring than they are to say you need to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we have a clearer. So in the last game we got the shuttles a little bit, but this is a clearer view, kind of a clearer look at the shuttle.
I like the fact that the military ones are armed.
Mm-hmm.
I also kind of secretly like the fact that the military ones, they're armed with what's basically an upgraded version of the Eviscerator shotgun, if you look at them.
Yeah.
Another thing that I like, we're introduced to a new type of Reaper, these little, for want of a better way to put it, scarab beetle looking ones.
Yeah.
That are basically, like, if the main ones are battleships, these things, I guess, would be like destroyers or corvettes.
I mean, they are significantly smaller in size once
they only have the one central cannon.
Yeah. And they seem more designed for ground operations, where the big ones kind of keep to the skies, as it were. But I mean, as you see, they're coming down to Earth.
There are 5 of them in this frame. Think about how many are across the globe.
Yeah, and then it still isn't enough.
Yeah,
because that's how big, like the Earth itself, and Earth is, Earth is huge. And you later on hear from Anderson how they're
running all over
the place and using the size and kind of shape. But here we have
beautiful piece of cinematography right here, and it sets the whole tone.
Yep.
Just
about to say that.
God damn, that's gorgeous.
Just fantastic.
Just suddenly, boom, you're there.
And then the music too is just well done.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that is the first chapter of Mass Effect 2. We will be continuing on with the next mission at the Mars Archive next time. So we'll be seeing you, kids.
Deuces.